In other news, Australian and Indonesian foreign and defence ministers reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening security cooperation at a meeting in Melbourne today. They also discussed how to operationalise a landmark agreement aimed at boosting defence ties. Roger Maynard reports.
While there were no major agreements made during this meeting, it's clear that both sides were keen to consolidate their relationship and continue to boost the importance of the Australia-Indonesia Treaty on Security, which Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and President Subianto signed earlier this year. That means exploring further opportunities to cement bilateral defence cooperation, economic resilience and regional security. It's worth looking at the comments made by both sides in Melbourne today.
The state of that relationship today has never been better, and it is playing the role that we would both want it to play in terms of providing for the security of both of our countries.
Australian Defence Minister Richard Marles said their bilateral relationship had an enormous influence on the national security of both Australia and Indonesia. He explained that the state of that relationship had never been better. We are both countries that are deeply invested in the rules-based order around the world, and especially in this region, he declared. While Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong suggested that the recently signed Jakarta Treaty was not just a new chapter, but a new level in the relationship between the two countries. For his part, Indonesia's Foreign Minister pointed to his own president's sentiments when he said that both nations were destined to be neighbours, which in itself called for greater cooperation. While Indonesia's Defence Minister emphasised that the partnership not only contributed to the security of each country, but also peace and stability in their shared region. Overall, these talks demonstrated the need for ever closer ties at a political, economic and military level. But what makes these talks even more significant are the timing, given it's being held only days after the Indonesian defence and foreign ministers agreed to significantly deepen military cooperation with Beijing when they met in Jakarta last week with their Chinese counterparts. Both sides agreed to expand joint military exercises, to work together on advanced technology, and to increase defence industrial cooperation, including a Chinese-backed factory in Indonesia, which will manufacture missiles, rockets and ammunition. That in itself clearly suggests a much closer relationship between Indonesia and China, and Beijing's growing influence represents the strategic backdrop to these talks in Melbourne. It also illustrates Jakarta's willingness to build closer military ties with both Beijing and Canberra. That could require a delicate balancing act if Jakarta wants to maintain strong ties with each nation without appearing to support one side or the other. And therein lies the conundrum facing Indonesia. For instance, who would it favour first in the event of a standoff between Australia and China, for example? These are big geopolitical questions which could arguably play a key role in future relations between Australia and its northern neighbour. But for the time being at least, all is well between Canberra and Jakarta. Roger Maynard, CNA, Sydney.